Hey everybody, it's me, Timmy Flyers Guy, and welcome to the first episode of Timmy's Nostalgic Showcase. This is episode 1. This is the first episode. So in today's episode of Timmy's Nostalgic Showcase, I want to talk about growing up and watching professional wrestling in the 90s and 2000s. In the 90s and the 2000s, before I get into that, let me tell you a little bit, something about this show. Timmy's Nostalgic Showcase. On this show, I take a look back at a lot of different subjects from the 90s, the 80s, and the 2000s. That is what my show is all about here on Timmy's Nostalgic Showcase. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about watching pro wrestling in the 90s and the 2000s. I never really was into wrestling when I was really little. Back in the 80s, I never really watched it. But my brother was a huge fan at the time. He watched guys like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, The Ultimate Warrior, The Four Horsemen, Sting, Nature Boy Ric Flair, all the great legends of the 1980s. I think he watched it all the way up to 95, I think. But me, I started watching wrestling around 1996. And the first wrestling I saw was WCW Monday Nitro. I watched my first episode of Monday Nitro, and I was hooked. It was back in February of 1996, and that's my first taste of professional wrestling. I then will dabble in the Saturday morning shows, such as Superstars, Live Wire, Action Zone, WCW Worldwide, WCW Pro, WCW Main Event, and WCW Saturday Night. At the time I also flicked back between the WWF. At the time I started watching WWF wrestling, which is known as WWE. Back in the late 1996, like Shawn Michaels was the WWF champion, was the world champ, was the main guy for WWE a while. He was for it to hit me hard. But there are times that I dabble in WWF on Peacock and watch some old WCW on Peacock as well. On Peacock. On Peacock as well. WWF wrestling. Well, it didn't really take off, but at the time, WCW was killing WWE in the ratings with their infamous NWL storyline. And that's what watching WCW Monday Nitro was appointment viewing, because you wanted to know what they were going to do next. You wanted to know how they were going to push the envelope. WWE was running out of ideas at the time. In 1998, or 1997, late 97, the Attitude Era was born with more risque storylines, and more. More risky storylines and more edgier characters. WWF's Attitude Era really helped WWE take off. Because things started to change for WCW from 1999 all the way into 2001, where WCW closed its doors at their last Monday Night Show from Panama City in March of 2001. At the time, I also dabbled in ECW. ECW was a more grittier product, with guys like Raven, the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, the Dudley Boys, Public Enemy, the Gangsters, New Jack, and Mustafa. ECW really started to take off, but it seems like they were treading the water against the tougher competition of WWE and WCW. ECW had some great storylines as well, like the infamous Raven and Sandman storyline. WWF really did well with its storylines as well. Like factions, great factions like the Ministry of Darkness, Degeneration X, and many great factions from the Attitude Era. ECW finally closed its doors in 2001 as well. WWE officially bought WCW in 2001. They tried to resurrect WCW in the WWE in 2001 with the Invasion storyline, and also tried to do the same with ECW. They were also involved in the Invasion storyline. ECW then tried to be revived once again in 2006, but things just didn't work out because WWE really limited Paul Heyman into doing more creative storylines. So ECW then closed its doors in 2009. Our nation closed its doors in 2009 to make room for NXT. And no, not the NXT you're thinking of. The game show version of NXT. So in a way, 1996 was actually a good time for me to become a wrestling fan, because I got to witness so many great storylines, so many great moments in WWE, WCW, and ECW. Who can forget when Goldberg became WCW champion? How can you forget the NWO? From the white and black variation to the red and black variation. And I'll never forget the epic storyline between the Sandman and Tommy Dreamer. I look back at the WWF, WCW, and ECW as a great time to be a fan, because WWE, they had competition, and that's what made them thrive. And for WWE, both their competition, things really started to go downhill for wrestling fans. And the wrestling fans were looking for that next best thing. In 2025, WWE has actually gotten better. WWE has gotten better. I myself, I'm not a big AEW fan. But the 90s and the 2000s were some of the greatest years to be a wrestling fan. Once the PG era came, that was it. But now WWE is making strides to be a better product once again. We're getting that gritty version of WWE in 2025, which I like. Guys, thank you for joining me here on Timmy's Nostalgic Showcase. I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode. There will be more to come, so stay tuned. Stay tuned, and thank you for joining me here on this first episode of Timmy's Nostalgic Showcase. I'll see you next time.